At this time, recognizing the importance of our historical centennial commemoration and the bringing home of one of ours, we would like to respectfully invite our honoured guests to address the assembled. The Honourable Dr. Andrew Furey, Premier, Newfoundland and Labrador.
J'invite l'Honorable Dr. Andrew Furey, Premier ministre de Terre-Neuve et Labrador, à prendre la parole.
Your Excellency, Your Honours, Prime Minister, our honoured veterans, distinguished guests, my fellow Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. As the 14th Premier of our province, and as an ardent and unapologetic patriot of our corner of Canada, it is my most distinct honour and privilege to be here with you on this somber but most significant occasion. I would like to express my gratitude to those who made this historic journey possible. Mr. Berkeley Lawrence, Mr. Frank Sullivan, Gerald Budden from the Royal Canadian Legion, Newfoundland and Labrador Command, author and historian Gary Brown, the Commonwealth War Graves Commission for allowing the repatriation of our unknown soldiers' remains, and for their ongoing care, their forever care of our fallen heroes. The Republic of France, for their unwavering commitment to our allied comrades and their remembrance of their sacrifices in both world wars. Merci beaucoup, mes amis. My colleague, Minister Steve Crocker, my friend, Minister Seamus O'Regan, none of this would be possible without you. And the dedicated support of Veterans Affairs Canada and the Canadian Armed Forces. All of your efforts ensure that the legacy of those who serve, both past and present, will be remembered by future generations. Today, we commemorate the end of a very long journey. One that began over a century ago when England beckoned and the brave men and women of our proud Dominion answered the call. Hundreds of courageous souls from across the Dominion of Newfoundland, some of which who had never been to St. John's, let alone out of our country and across the ocean, to mainland Europe, to the specter of war. I can imagine their excitement and the pride they felt wearing the Newfoundland Regiment badge, marching from the old CLB Armory down past the Basilica to the ships waiting in the harbor. I'm sure the last thing any of them thought was that they will never see their pine-clad hills again. But that was the reality for far too many who went. Lost to the trenches, lost in the craters, lost in the horror of war. Now their headstones stand for them, of simple, pale granite, forever engraved with a soldier of the Great War, Royal Newfoundland Regiment, known unto God. But we know them. In memorials and monuments throughout our province, you will find their names, the names of our sons, chiseled in stone and etched forever in our hearts. Honored and remembered today as they have been every July 1st since, every Memorial Day, every Remembrance Day. It's hard to imagine a time when news was not instantaneous, when you only heard of updates by radio, by mail, or by telegram. Imagine not knowing the fate of someone you love so far away from what you know. Imagine coming to terms with not knowing if, when, or how they died, or where they are buried. Coming to realize, finally, they are not coming home. The mothers and fathers, family and friends waiting throughout our small villages and inlets across our country. How hard it must have been. How fear and hope had to wage a battle inside. The not knowing often crueler than the knowing itself. Imagine, if you can, this is one of your own. Well, this all went through my mind as I gripped my son's hand a little tighter, held him a little closer in France as we prepared to receive the body of our unknown soldier. I had the distinct privilege and honor to stand alone with him and my family. No flag, no piper, no bugle, just us. And I reflected on the impact of lost sons and family members. I felt his family's fear. I felt his family's loss. I felt his family's hope to bring him home to Newfoundland and Labrador. A proud member of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment. We don't know his name, but we do know this. He answered the call for king, for country, for this place that we love, for our home, for the freedom we all enjoy today, for all of us. He and many more like him laid down their lives. My friends, he was part of an extraordinary group. Newfoundlanders and Labradorians earned a reputation as the strongest soldiers to step into the muddy trenches across Europe. Bold, courageous, fearless. Being from here, we know this to be our quintessential grit and determination. The fighter that lives deep within all of us. Our soldiers proudly proved their mettle in places like Gallipoli and Monchy-le-Preux. And then there was the horror of Beaumont-Hamel. In the early morning of this day, July 1st, 1916, in less than half an hour, most of the Newfoundland Regiment was wiped out. Of close to 800 soldiers who went into battle that morning, only 68 answered roll call the next day. Some 700 killed, wounded, or missing. The dead included 14 sets of brothers. 100 years ago today, here in what was the dominion of of Newfoundland, in the heart of Old St. John's, this very monument was first dedicated to honor the brave souls we lost. It is said that more than 20,000 Newfoundlanders and Labradorians gathered here for it. The wounds still fresh, hearts still heavy from what was lost. All of them stood where you are standing now. I no doubt believe all of them are with us again today in spirit as we complete the journey for one, but one who represents all. This monument renews the acknowledgement of the valor of our soldiers, their courage, their sacrifice, their enduring spirit that still burns brightly in every one of us. today, for him, for them, for always. We are all the fighting Newfoundlander and Labradorian. For the families of the fallen, I was proud to serve as next of kin in France, and we are all here today to say thank you, to pay tribute to what you gave, and to honor it by saying in some way, this son, our son, these sons of ours have now come home. For the families of James O'Leary, Harry Hines, and Gerald Walter Eyre, your son has come home. For the families of Robert Mercer, Aidan Devereaux, Aubrey Parsons, Frederick White, your son has come home. For all families who lost a loved one, and for everyone across Newfoundland and Labrador who carries this in their hearts, our son is now home. May you find peace. May he finally be at peace. God bless and embrace the souls of the fallen, and God guard thee, Newfoundland and Labrador.